Have you ever felt that the harder you try to control everything, the more chaotic your life becomes? That the more you chase after more, the emptier you feel inside, and that only when you finally let go, you begin to see who you really are. If so, you're not alone. And today we're going to uncover something profound, the ancient wisdom that teaches us. True power comes not from grasping, but from releasing. We live in a world where control is glorified. From our jobs to our relationships and even our dreams, we're told that holding tightly is the key to success and happiness. But what if that's not true? What if the more we cling, the more lost we become? This is where Stoic philosophy enters, not as a cold set of rules, but as a powerful art of living. It's about knowing what is within your control and gracefully letting go of what is not. Not to escape responsibility, but to free yourself from unnecessary suffering. When I embraced this idea, something extraordinary happened. I discovered peace where anxiety used to live, and I found strength where fear once ruled. Letting go did not make me weak, it revealed the best version of myself. So, in this video, I want to share with you 7 practical methods to help you let go of what weighs you down and focus on what truly matters. These are not just theories, they are lessons I've learned through real experiences and painful mistakes. Every step, every decision, and every release came with a price, but also a reward. So, stay with me until the end, because this journey might just be the breakthrough you've been seeking. Number 1, when less becomes everything. Let's start with a simple yet profound question. What in your life is taking up too much space? Is it the endless material possessions that clutter your home? The toxic relationships draining your energy? Or perhaps the relentless parade of negative thoughts filling your mind day after day? For so long, I believed that having more would equal happiness. But the truth hit me hard. The more I gathered, the heavier my heart became. It was as though every possession, every achievement, every expectation added another invisible chain around my spirit. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for what he does not have, but rejoices for what he does." Those words changed me. I realized I was drowning in more, yet starving for meaning. At the peak of my so-called success, with a stable career and social recognition, I found myself trapped. The pressure was suffocating. I was not free. I was imprisoned in a golden cage built from expectations, comparisons, and fear. So I did something radical. I let go. I left behind the job, the shallow social ties, even the habit of comparing myself to others. I packed lightly and escaped to the countryside with nothing but essentials. At first, the silence was terrifying. No internet, no deadlines, no shoulds or musts. But slowly, the anxiety melted away. I began to notice the simple things again. The golden light of dawn, the scent of grass after rain, the quiet that filled my mind and brought clarity back to my soul. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." And he was right. By letting go of negativity, noise and needless burdens, my mind became lighter, calmer, and more focused. But letting go isn't just about decluttering your shelves. It's about freeing your spirit. It's about mindful living. Start with small steps. Take a few minutes every day to sit quietly and just breathe. Try minimalist journaling. Instead of endless to-do lists, write down only the 3 most important tasks for your day. These tiny shifts create space, clarity, and fulfillment. And yes, it won't be easy. Letting go feels unnatural at first. We hold on to things, even painful ones, because they feel familiar. But remember the words of Seneca. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more who is poor. When you release the need for what you don't truly need, you'll begin to see how incredibly rich you already are. So I ask you now, what would your life look like if you truly let go of everything that no longer serves your journey? Think about that, because in the next part, we'll continue this exploration with another powerful truth. Why letting go of the past is the secret to unlocking your future. Have you ever imagined living free from the need for perfection and no longer comparing yourself to others? I believe that if you did, you would finally discover the peace you've been searching for. Before we move to the next lesson, consider this simple but profound question. If today you kept only what truly matters, what would your life look like? Let that question guide your journey back to your true self. Because when less becomes everything, you don't just find freedom, and you find who you really are. Number 2, the beauty of letting go. Imagine standing by a river, holding a small leaf in your hand. That leaf represents your burdens, worries, and all the things beyond your control. You grip it tightly, unwilling to release it. But the longer you hold on, the more it withers, and the heavier your heart becomes. So why not let it go? Let the leaf drift away with the current. That's not a loss, it's freedom. That's the beauty of letting go. Stoic philosophy does not teach us to cut off our emotions or become indifferent. Instead, it encourages us to face life with clarity, to see that change is natural, and within that change lies beauty. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, observe constantly that all things take place by change. Life is in constant motion. When you stop resisting and start flowing with it, you begin to live more authentically, more freely. Have you ever realized that clinging is often the root of your pain? A relationship that no longer brings joy, but you hold on because you're afraid of being alone. A draining job you refuse to leave out of fear of failure. I faced the same struggle. There was a project I deeply cared about, yet it no longer aligned with my path. Still, I pushed forward until I asked myself, does continuing this really make me happy? The answer was no. Letting go felt like dropping a heavy backpack after a long, exhausting journey. I felt free. Epictetus taught us that while we cannot control what happens, we can control how we perceive and respond to it. Instead of fighting against life's flow, why not go along with it and seek new opportunities? So how can you practice letting go in a stoic yet heartfelt way? First, embrace the art of releasing something small every day. Let go of irritation when someone cuts in line or the disappointment of unmet expectations. Imagine these emotions as leaves on a river. Hold them if you wish, but letting them float away will make you feel lighter. Next, practice impermanence. Each morning, remind yourself that everything you have today could be gone tomorrow. This isn't pessimism, it's a way to cherish the present and detach from the unnecessary. You might also try writing an unsent letter. Pour out your feelings to yourself or someone you're struggling to let go of, then destroy the letter. It's a powerful way to release emotions without confrontation. As Seneca said, begin at once to live and count each day as a separate life. Don't let unnecessary things occupy your mind. Each day offers a fresh chance to choose what you carry forward. Finally, letting go doesn't mean giving up. When you release what no longer serves you, you're simply making space for better things to arrive. Like releasing a kite. you aren't discarding it. You're letting it soar higher and freer. And so will you. So, what about you? What burdens will you release into the river of life today to rediscover peace within your soul? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear and walk this path with you. And if you're ready to make every day feel lighter, don't forget to subscribe. I share new videos daily to help guide and inspire you on your journey. The invisible. Chains we choose to wear. Imagine standing in a crowded square. Hundreds of people surround you, yet you feel tense, worried that every move you make is being judged. But here's the irony. No one is actually paying attention. They're too busy dealing with their own invisible chains. Marcus Aurelius once
wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own."
we prioritize others' opinions over our own self-worth. Strange, isn't it? I remember the first time I realized I was bound by these invisible chains. I turned down a great job opportunity simply because I feared I wasn't good enough. I made excuses. The job wasn't a good fit. I wasn't ready. But deep down, I knew the truth. I was afraid of failing and disappointing others. But when I finally let go of that fear, something amazing happened. I found a better job and, more importantly, felt like I had dropped a heavy backpack I didn't even know I was carrying. So, Howie, do we break free from these invisible chains? It starts with recognition. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to or because I'm afraid? When you feel pressure, trace its source. Fear of rejection, the need to be perfect. Perfection is a trap that keeps you feeling like you're never enough. Try this exercise. Write down 3 things that have made you feel trapped recently. Maybe people's expectations, work pressure, or fear of failure. Then ask yourself, if I let this go, what's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, the worst-case scenario is only temporary discomfort, while the reward is true freedom. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. We fear failure so much that we never try. We fear rejection so deeply that we don't dare to love, but in reality, our fears are rarely as terrible as we imagine. Even failure is just part of the journey, not the end." One method I love is practicing paradox. If you fear rejection, put yourself in situations where rejection is likely. Ask for small things you know will be denied, like a discount at a shop that doesn't offer them. Over time, you'll see rejection holds no real power. Those chains will start to loosen. Freedom is not about having no limits. It's about knowing which limits matter. When you understand which boundaries you've chosen and which ones come from fear, you realize you hold the power. You can choose not to let fear dominate you anymore. Picture this, waking up one day with no pressures, no fears, only you and your path, walking lightly free from invisible burdens. And the best part? You don't need anyone else to set you free. The chains only exist if you believe in them. Once you stop believing, you'll see you were free all along. Now is the time to break them, take control, and live the life you truly deserve. Next, let's continue with lesson number 4, where you'll discover that sometimes escaping doesn't require running away. Instead, it begins by letting go from within. Previously, we discussed the invisible chains that hold us back. But sometimes escaping stagnation doesn't require running away. It simply calls for a shift in perspective. Remember the story of the friend who despised his job? He couldn't stand his boss, disliked his colleagues, and every morning felt like an uphill battle. He believed that switching jobs would solve everything. Yet, even after changing workplaces multiple times, the dissatisfaction lingered. One day, he realized the problem wasn't the job, it was his mindset. He embraced Stoic philosophy and stopped letting external factors control his emotions. Instead of complaining, he focused on what he could control, working more efficiently and responding more positively. Then something remarkable happened. The frustration faded. Though he remained in the same position, mentally, he had left the negativity behind without taking a single step. Does this sound familiar? How many times have you thought that with a better job, more money, or kinder people, happiness would be guaranteed? Yet even when those things arrive, emptiness often remains. The issue is rarely our circumstances, it's how much power we allow them to have over our minds. Epictetus once said, "It's not things that upset us, but our interpretation of them." We all live in the same world, but how we experience it creates very different realities. Leaving isn't always about physical movement, it's about refusing to let unnecessary burdens dominate our thoughts. So, how do we practice this philosophy? Daily? Start with inner observation. When anger, frustration, or anxiety arise, pause. Ask yourself, is this emotion real or is it just my interpretation? Realizing this difference is the first step toward letting go. Next, practice mental distancing. When faced with discomfort, imagine being an outsider watching yourself. For example, if someone insults you, visualize it like a scene in a movie. From this perspective, does it still seem so serious? This separation helps reduce emotional intensity, allowing you to respond with wisdom. Lastly, embrace gratitude, a powerful Stoic tool. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. It could be something simple: a warm cup of coffee, sunlight through the window, or the ability to read these words. When you shift focus to what you have rather than what you lack, you begin to leave scarcity and dissatisfaction behind. So ask yourself, what are you still holding on to that no longer serves your growth? Have you built an invisible cage for yourself? Remember, freedom doesn't come from changing the world. It begins within, in how you choose to perceive and respond to life. You can leave any time without taking a single step. And when you do, you'll realize the key to peace and happiness has always been in your hands. You've already made it halfway through this journey. Mark this milestone with a like, because few have the patience and courage to face themselves. But stay tuned, the most powerful part is still ahead. Next, we'll explore a deeper truth, the quiet power of walking alone. Previously, we talked about leaving without physically going anywhere, simply by letting go of what's weighing us down. But there's a deeper level, walking alone on the path of growth, and in doing so, you'll uncover a special kind of strength, one that only solitude can reveal. When you dare to embrace walking alone, you don't just find yourself, you also discover a silent yet steadfast strength. It's the strength of being at peace with who you truly are. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and it is achieved by disregarding things beyond our control." So why do we care so much about what others think? Why don't we simply allow ourselves to wander freely down our own path instead of tirelessly following someone else's footsteps? To practice the power of walking alone, you don't need to give up everything and move to a remote mountain. Start small but meaningful. Try spending a day without social media, an evening without texting anyone, or enjoy a solo picnic with just your journal for company. At first, the emptiness may feel uncomfortable, but within that silence, you'll finally create space to listen deeply to yourself. There's a simple practice I always recommend. So simple that you'll wonder why you haven't tried it before. At the end of the day, sit down and write 3 honest feelings you experienced when no one else was around. Don't write what you think others want to hear. Write for yourself. Day by day, you'll notice negative thoughts fading, making space for peace to settle in. That's the quiet power you've been seeking. And if you're worried that walking alone will make you weak or leave you behind, remember Seneca's words. Associate with those who are likely to improve you, and welcome those whom you can improve. The process is mutual. We learn as we teach. When you are strong enough to walk alone, you are also strong enough to choose relationships that truly matter. So, let me ask you this: are you living your own life, or simply the life others expect of you? When you dare to walk alone, you'll realize that everything you've been seeking outside has always existed within. No noise, no performance, just you and your chosen path. Be brave enough to keep going, even when you walk alone. Because sometimes in solitude, you'll discover the true path forward. And once you learn to cherish those solitary steps and embrace the journey you've crafted, for yourself, you'll realize freedom is not what you once thought it was, but what is true freedom? Is it really about doing whatever you want, or is it about learning how to let go? Stay with me, because in the next lesson, we'll dive deeper into this question. Freedom is not what you think. Previously, we realized that true freedom doesn't come from having more, but from daring to let go of what no longer serves us. When you pause amidst the rush of life, something magical begins to unfold. You start observing more deeply, listening to your body, and connecting with your genuine emotions. Without the constant noise of the outside world sweeping you away, you reach a state of remarkable peace. Freedom, at that point, is no longer a distant concept. It becomes the very moment when your mind relaxes and you fully live in the present. Seneca once said, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." Whether you feel free or trapped, happy or miserable depends entirely on your mindset. Change your perspective and you'll transform your entire inner world. Imagine waking up one morning without the urge to prove yourself, without being haunted by the past or anxious about the future. You simply live, see freely, fully and peacefully. That is true freedom and the most beautiful part. You don't need to go anywhere or become someone else to find this freedom. It's always been within you, quietly waiting to be embraced. So, are you ready to break free from the invisible chains holding your mind back? Ready to step into your true freedom? Freedom doesn't come from the outside. It begins within. If you feel it's time to take charge of your thoughts and emotions, comment "Freedom Within" to mark the beginning of your journey. Don't wait any longer. Let go of what no longer serves you and start living fully today. But this journey isn't over yet, because up next, we'll dive into an even deeper lesson: owning nothing, yet having everything. Sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? Yet sometimes the most profound truths hide behind what seems illogical. In a world obsessed with accumulating more money, more success, more followers, have you ever stopped to ask yourself, does having more truly make me happier? Stoic philosophy reminds us, the poorest person is not the one who has the least, but the one who is always craving more. Let's continue and together discover the true meaning of letting go, and the powerful realization that when you no longer need to have everything, that's when you already possess all that truly matters. Previously, we realized that letting go does not mean giving up. On the contrary, it is about making room for what truly matters. When you release what is no longer needed, you not only free up physical space, but you also expand your soul. Remember, letting go is not abandoning life. It is learning to live, fully within it with a free spirit and an unburdened heart. Once you reach this state, you'll discover that you don't need anything more. Everything essential has already been within you all along. In this video, we've explored 7 powerful methods to let go, detach from what no longer serves you, and focus on your unique path. Maybe, somewhere in these reflections, you saw glimpses of yourself. Moments when you tried to control everything, but ended up exhausted. Times when you clung to the past and forgot to live in the present. But here's the truth. When you finally dare to let go, you don't lose anything. In fact, you gain something far more valuable, a freer, lighter, and stronger version of yourself. That is the true gift Stoicism offers to those brave enough to loosen their grip and trust their journey. If this video resonated with you and you haven't hit the like button yet, now's the perfect time to do so. It means a lot to me. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Please share your experiences in the comments below. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, don't hesitate to share this video with them. You never know just how much of an impact it might make. Finally, make sure to hit that subscribe button because there's so much more inspiration and wisdom coming your way. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to see you in the next video, where our journey of letting go and self-discovery will continue even deeper.